Yeah. Week fantasy football playoff time. What am I saying? Week what? I always say week 12, week 13. It's embedded in my head. My natural reaction is it's my first word out of my mouth is week 4, week 5, week 6. It's fantasy football playoff time, but it's also 2020 fantasy football dynasty talk time. Let's talk dynasty. I want to focus, if we're not talking about the playoffs, what's up, Nick? What's up, big dog? I want to focus on dynasty fantasy football. I want to focus on questions like, who do I trade in my dynasty league? This guy or this guy? Or who do I value against the 1.01? What wide receiver should I trade in order to get Jerry Jeudy on my team? Let's talk tons of rookie dynasty. And if you ask a redraft question, you take a lap. This is not your dynasty. This isn't your mom's dynasty redraft show. This is your dad's dynasty show. Okay? What's up, Cat Fan? What's up, Rum? What's up, Steven? And hit that like button, or what the hell? Where's Godwin's value in Dynasty, big dog, following the directions properly? In Dynasty, I would say that Godwin is, I think, getting ranked a little too high because people are expecting top 5 numbers in Dynasty. I think in redraft, damn, it's cold out here. I should have got a freaking sweater. I know you guys on the East Coast are going to make fun of me, but it's like, I don't know, it's got to be like 40 degrees right now, and I'm in a t-shirt and shorts, so I'm not like dressed at all for cold weather. So if I'm shaking a little bit, it's because I'm grinding out in the cold for you guys, because you're that important that I go live all the time. Need to know how to rank the top rookie wide receivers for the 2019 Dynasty. You mean for 2020? Kenny, Galladay, or Boyd? Galladay by a mile, but I'm not going to say that couldn't change. I need to answer that Godwin question too. Traded Godwin for Terry, the 1.4, and 2021 first. That's not bad value, assuming that 2021 first is okay. You could have maybe got more, to be honest, but I don't know. The 1.04 could work out really well, and I like Terry a ton. So I think that could really work out. I just think fair market value, trade value wise, what those guys are worth on the open market. You could get Godwin. You could get a steal for Godwin, man. But as for Godwin, dynasty-wise, the reason I'm concerned is he's very Winston dependent. If Winston gets removed from that lineup, you can't tell me that both Evans and Godwin are going to thrive. And if you ask me, I know everybody's going to be all over me on this and say, Smitty, how can you say that Godwin's the better receiver? He looks so much better. Evans is more sustainable in a Winston-less offense. If Winston is removed, Evans is the guy that's going to be more protected in the targets, in my opinion. That I could be wrong, I could be proven wrong, but I'm not putting all my eggs in the Jameis Winston basket. The guy practically tried to eat his hand in a pre-game pep talk. I don't trust anybody that tries to eat their hand when they're a quarterback and they need their hand to throw the football. What are your top 5 or 10 picks at the moment for Dynasty rookies? So I don't have everything in front of me right now, so I'm not going to go too deep because I feel like I'm going to miss a guy. So I'm going to stay pretty shallow in that top 5 and tell you who I like. Number 1 on my list by far right now, and this is based on talent, and I did this with the Hopkins draft. Hopkins was my number 1 overall player when I just did talent evaluation before landing spots. We're talking about January, February. I told everybody Hopkins is going to be the guy. A.J. Brown and N'Keal Harry were by far the top 2 wide receivers on my board in January and February based on talent alone. A.J. Brown landed in what looked at the time, and it was at the time, a shitty situation, so that affected his ranking a little bit with me. And I prefaced by saying that once a QB change happens, I think A.J. Brown could mature into top 5 to 10 wide receiver value. This year, Jerry Jeudy is protected into top 2 or 3 value no matter where he goes. And the odds are he's going to go to a place that wants to use him because of the draft capital that is required to attain him. With running backs, you have a situation where running backs are so cheap to any team. You could have the number 3 running back overall land in a place like Tennessee. You could see the number 3 running back overall land in New England, land in San Diego, LA. Land with the Chargers, I should say. I'm so used to saying San Diego for so many years. You could see any team land a top 3 to 4 running back because the draft capital, the cost of acquiring that player is so low. When you're talking 4th and 5th round, or even late 3rd, but typically 4th round on, where some running backs will fall to, you're talking about a player that is no risk to that team. They're not risking anything by taking him in the 4th or 5th round. But if you talk about a guy like Jerry Jeudy, who's going to go in the top 10, no team's going to draft him if they don't need the wide receiver. That's 9 times out of 10, or you could say 80 times out of 100. Or 90 out of 100, if you want to be completely parallel with my math. I was trying to recalculate that. But Jerry Jeudy, to me, is locked in no matter what, because he's probably going to land in a good spot. He's probably going to Arizona or the Giants, if I had to guess. Jerry Jeudy in a Giants uniform is going to be lit. Going to drop fire emojis right now. I want fire emojis raining for Jerry Jeudy right now. Jerry Jeudy deserves it. Hit that thumbs up. Jerry Jeudy is going to be amazing. He reminds me of a Randy Moss meets, oh God, who can I compare him to? Because there really is no great comparison to him because he's so unique. And I don't say that in a bad way. I say that in a good way. Jerry Jeudy is like a combination of a smaller Randy Moss meets a slower Tyreek Hill meets a... God, I don't even know how to compare him. Meets a Chark, meets a Terry McLaurin, just to give you a bunch of relevant names that you can revel in and get excited about. Jerry Jeudy is going to be insane. Where do I rank him, though? I still rank him probably 2. I'd probably rank him 2 right now because I don't know what to think of. I don't think Dobbins and Etienne, or Dobbins, Etienne, and Swift, I think one of them will be in a really damn good place. The other one could be in a pretty good place, and then the third one's going to be in a pretty good place or a sketchy place. There aren't a lot of teams that need a running back in 2020, especially if you take out the Arizona Cardinals, who are most likely going to lean in the direction of re-signing Drake because they have a situation that's meshed really well together in an offense that deploys the running back in a very unique way, leans on the running back in a very unique way, pass the ball and move the ball around in a very unique way. They have a quarterback that's maturing and trying to get better, and they already have the quarterback and the running back who they traded for and obviously like meshing well together on an offense that needs to improve and take steps forward. You don't worry so much about saving a buck when you could retain a running back that you believe in, that knows your system, that can help your quarterback, who is going to be, in my opinion, a top 5 QB in 2020. The guy's name is Kyler Murray, and if you are the Arizona Cardinals, you are going to do everything you can within reason to go ahead and re-sign the guy that jives well and meshes well with your team, that's going to make your quarterback take that step forward without taking a step back first as the running game struggles or hits a wall. Now, the Cardinals may not be that smart. Maybe they aren't. I live in Arizona. I'm a Cardinals fan. I've watched them make bad decisions year after year. I've watched them make good decisions every few years, but not very consistently. But I really like the way this offense put their balls on the line, or this coaching staff, rather, put their balls on the line, drafting Kyler Murray when they already had just 1 year ago invested in Rosen, and they showed that they had balls. They don't care about what somebody did in the past. They're not worried about the perception of going and getting a QB after that draft capital was spent on Rosen, that investment was used on Rosen. They just said, you know what, here are my nads. I'm going to lay them on the table, relish how big they are, and we're going to go and roll with a guy named Kyler Murray, who everyone calls short. And they still call him short, and people still say he's too small. He's proven that he can do it. He's already proven at the NFL level. Kyler Murray is going to be a top 5. He's the next Lamar Jackson. There's no quarterback in this draft class or in this player pool in 2020 fantasy football that has more Lamar and Mahomes. You see them coming, yet by default you can't rank them any higher than you have them type of situation. Everyone sees it coming, but they're not going to be able to react to it. People knew Pat Mahomes was good, but he's number 1 on my bold predictions in 2018. I said he would be a top 5 running quarterback. Pat Mahomes was a top 5 quarterback. He was the number 1 quarterback. He had one of the best fantasy football quarterback seasons ever. If you want the next the next Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, or at least the opportunity to have that, then you want yourself a little guy named Kyler Murray. I love Kyler Murray in 2020. And that circles me back to the fact that I think that they want to do everything they can to make this guy progress. And I think that means signing Kenyon Drake. Now, I sidetracked the hell out of myself. Let me read some of the comments. Judy projected to multiple different teams. Kyler takes the next big step. I agree. Obviously. Saquon or Henry next year. I get it. I get the appeal of Henry. I get everybody's, loving what he's producing. But you can, but you shouldn't draft Henry above Saquon. Saquon's the most gifted player in the entire league. Physically, he's on an offense that will improve. He's not in a black hole situation. And if they get Jerry Jeudy, open up that pass even more under an improving Danny Dimes, who's got good wide receivers as well, you're talking about a really, really good situation for Saquon Barkley to walk into in 2020 and have, I think, the year that everybody expected him to have in 2019. So for me, it's really, really easy to believe in Saquon at the number 2 spot. Henry's in non-PPR in the 4 conversation, but in PPR, I don't draft him any higher than 5. And I draft him around 5 or 6. So I'm not doubting him. I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just merely telling you he is not in my top 4 or anything like that in PPR. And he still needs to be, you need to use a little caution when drafting him if you're going to expect him to play 16 games, especially if we're talking Dynasty, which is this show is about. Henry, to me, has one really good year before I start to panic. And I even trade Henry in Dynasty probably as he's on a tear heading into double-digit weeks. Now, you can call me knee-jerk reacting on that. You can say Smitty. But find somebody that was higher on Henry heading into the tail end of 2018, because I have a video that you can see, and I'll even show it to you if you want to call me out. I'll put it in the comments, so I dare you. And in that video, I was asked a question on Reddit. Who is the next rags to riches player? The guy that can go from rags to not only riches, but top 5 running back appeal. And you know what name I dropped in 2018 before he went on his 4 TD, 200-plus yard game when he had done nothing prior? I said Derrick Henry. So I'm a believer in Henry. I just think people are going to overdraft him without the protection of expected missed games, because the guy is a big dude. And he has a lot of weight hitting the ground each time, and he takes a lot of hard hits. And I told people that I'm going to rewatch all of his carries, every single one of them, to make sure that I'm properly assessing this, because there is some speculation in that he gets hit at the knees more than the average bear because he's such a big dude and nobody wants to tackle him, nor can anybody tackle him, period, at the shoulders. So I'm venturing to say that he takes a lot of hits, lower hits. What's up, Tannehill's dad? Glad to have you here. What is better, in keeper leagues or Dynasty? Dynasty by far, Andrew, because you get to keep everybody and it's a lot more involved. And there's a lot more appeal in owning a guy like Saquon Barkley, because you have him for as long as you wish. You don't have to give up anything. Dynasties are awesome. The only question with Dynasty leagues, if you're going to start one, is that you have something in place that will protect that league from people just trading away everything they got and bailing after 1 year. So how you do that, you have like a deposit, like a $25 or $40 deposit you make them put down, and if someone wants to leave, you hand that to the next owner and you say, year one's paid for you, baby. Jump in, grab this shitty team that this guy bailed on. Here's his $40, and you can play for free. You know, make it an entry fee. And then that you can make people take over dynasty teams pretty easily when you pay their way in year one. Henry just scares me a little bit, is all. Smitty, I'm playing Call of Duty, can't watch today. Well, Tannehill's dad, what's more important? You could rewatch this, that's true. But I'm a little disappointed in you, Tannehill's dad. Kareem Hunt, potential rags to riches. I wouldn't even call him. I think people are going to rank Kareem Hunt higher than you think, Jeremy. I think Kareem Hunt's going to venture into the bottom of the second round, top of the third, just as soon as people know what's going on with where he's going to be, where he's playing, if he gets signed to a nice deal. Now, if he has no love in the free agent market, and let's say he has no options, which could happen. People are acting like they know what's going to happen in free agency. No one knows. There are literally, if you take the Titans out, who will probably re-sign Henry because they'd be crazy, and Henry would be crazy to abandon that relationship. Why? Because Henry finally got going. Henry struggled to get going. Henry probably feels like he's on a second chance right now, and the Titans feel like we have a team that can be absolutely amazing. And it is playing amazing. So the last thing the Titans are going to want to do is not re-sign Henry. The last thing Henry's going to want to do is go elsewhere and try and gel with another unit and try and get himself back into, you know, the top of the top. He probably loves where he's at right now. So take Tennessee out. The Cardinals already talked about that. I think they want to re-sign Drake. Take them out. You have literally 5 or 6 teams in the NFL that are running back hungry in terms of taking a running back that's really highly ranked, a guy that they're going to have to reach for a little bit in the second round, maybe top of the third, because running backs are so cheap, which is ridiculous because they are probably one of the most important positions, yet they get shit on. And I agree, you sign a contract, you shouldn't be holding out and causing problems like Melvin Gordon did, like freaking Lev Bell did. But at the same time, I do feel like teams need to give these guys more money and make the position more respected, and it does suck for them. But it is what it is. You can't really disrupt the team, sign a contract, and then cry like a baby when you don't get what you want on it. You gotta show a team that you could go get something elsewhere, and then they'll re-sign you. But Hunt could be either shunned or land a big deal. But there are like 5 or 6 teams that need a running back. Off the top of my head, you can toss them out if you think I'm missing one. Kansas City, Miami. You have Houston that could be in the mix for a running back. There are several teams that are like borderline-ish, you know. Like New England could go after a running back because they're weird like that. But Miami, Houston, Kansas City, Arizona are probably the top spots. Bucks are definitely in there. Yeah, Eric Bucks. Then if I'm missing one, let me know. Off the top of my head, in the freezing cold, Redskins maybe. Yeah, I mean, I would like a running back landing there only because I don't trust Geis at all. Seattle could do it, but late. But I don't think they need a running back. Not enough to take like one of the top 3. So my point here is if Swift doesn't go to your team where you have a running back, and Dobbins doesn't go, and ETN doesn't go, then you're looking at maybe Taylor. If Taylor landed in a spot where you got a back, you better be worried. Falcons, thank you, mechanic. The Falcons are another team that could probably be in the game for a running back. Colts, they've got Marlon Mack for at least 2 more years, I believe. And Marlon Mack I like a lot heading into 2020 because of comments like that, Jake. And no going at you on that. I'm just letting you know I'm just being real with you. People are doubting Marlon Mack so much that he's low risk in 2020. If he busts and doesn't do well, you got him so cheap because of comments like that. I love Marlon Mack's value. But could they go after a running back? Absolutely. Yeah, Geis I don't believe in. Lions, I don't believe in Kerryon Johnson, although a lot of people do. I asked a question on Instagram. I said, what player would you rather have at running back over the 1.01? expecting people to like the 1.01 about as much as I do, which means there's like the top 5 running backs. So you got Henry, you have McCaffrey, you have Saquon, you have Zeke, and you have so McCaffrey, Zeke, Saquon, Henry, and Cook. So you have the top 5. And really, after that, there are 2, 3, 4 running backs that I think of that I would I think long and hard on too. I'm going to be honest with you. You can call me crazy all you want, but I love 1.01 picks that much because you control your own destiny. You're not getting the leftover running back. You choose what you want. And let's say the running backs land in bad spots and Jerry Jeudy lands in the most ideal spot ever. You could take Jerry Jeudy. The 1.01 is so valuable. Past the top 5 running backs, I have to think long and hard about the next running backs up and whether I'd rather have Kamara, probably. Would I rather have Aaron Jones? Maybe. But people on Instagram were dropping shit left and right saying that they'd rather have Kerryon Johnson than the 1.01. Kerryon's not that good, nor do you pay that kind of price tag for Kerryon. Kerryon's going to be doubted to the max in 2020. So value your one. That's why you need sleeperu.com, because I got a trade calculator that includes and incorporates rookie draft picks into the player pool. You can select, do I trade the 1.01 in Dynasty for Kerryon Johnson? And my trade calculator will reach out and pimp slap you and tell you to take a lap, you son of a bitch. That's what my trade calculator would do to you if you tried to select the 1.01 and trade it for Kerryon Johnson. You get a pimp slap from the trade calculator on that shit. If Jerry Jeudy goes to Arizona, he's my 1.1 unless the Chiefs select elite back. I've got a question for you, Balls Life. Do you take ETN in Kansas City or Jerry Jeudy in Arizona, bro? Mind blown, right? You know what you're going to do if that happens? You're going to be like, why the hell didn't I trade everything I had for the 1.02 and have the 1.01 and 1.02? My favorite way to build, if you want to rebuild, is somehow get the 1.01, 1.02, and then another 1.04 or 1.05 or 1.03 and build around that shit. If you can get Jerry Jeudy to ETN or Jerry Jeudy and Dobbins and come away with a rebuild in that way, I'd rather lose for 1 to 2 years building up something like that. You land your sleepers, you get the next Kenyon Drake off of waivers, you find Tannehill type player, Chark you ended up drafting. Can you imagine what you would be doing in 2 or 3 years from that point, if you had landed those kind of players in 2020, or you do land those kind of players in 2020 by using a site like Sleeper U, Smitty, and you build your team around 1.01 and 1.02 material on top of all the sleeper gems that you land from sleeperu.com and from your own knowledge, because you guys are badasses. And why do we only have 13 thumbs up when we have between 20 and 40 people constantly in the room? Hit the thumbs up and help the show grow. Help the show grow. Don't be got 1.03 and 1.04. What should my game plan be? Need everything but QBs because I got Lamar and a bunch of garbage. So you have the 1.03, 1.04, and Lamar. I love it. I do everything I can to move that 1.04 to the 1.01. That's what I do if I'm you. That way you have either ETN in Dobbins, or maybe CD Lamb lands with the Cardinals and he becomes everybody's 1.02, 1.03. That could happen. Maybe you trade and get that 1.01 and so it's those 2 picks you end up having Jerry Jeudy and ETN. I don't know, but I love the option of having the 1.03 and the 1. So Jake, in your situation, I'm not ignoring you, Nick. You always ask that question, that ridiculous question, Nick. Ask your question again and I'll get to it, but I never ignore anybody. It's a silly assumption that you make every single time we do a live, Nick. I love you, but I don't have my bell or I'd ring it. The 1.03, 1.05, 1.07, you're the prime candidate, Jake, to trade to get to the 1.01 using 2 of those picks. Even if you trade the 1.03 and the 1.07 for the 1.01, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I'd keep the 1.03 if you can and trade the 1.05, 1.07 and your second and your third and your fourth and your mom and trade it all for the 1.01 and keep that 1.03. Who's the next McCaffrey with 100+ catches? The only guy that has that potential at all is Kamara. And you can laugh if you want, not saying you, Nick. You can laugh if you want, but that guy has 100-catch material. Eckler is very actually, you know what? Ball is life, good point. Eckler has that potential. So Eckler and Kamara are the only two running backs that I would feel confident in saying could sniff 100 reception totals, I think in 2020 or 2021. Eckler is a very good running back. And I think if he gets, even if they don't run him a ton, but they run him to the 700 to 900 type range for rushing yards, and they give him his 80 or 90 to 100 receptions, and he gets 1,000 yards, that's 18 to 1,900 total yards for Austin Eckler. You don't want him running 250 times. If you want that, you're not looking at this shit right. And you want yourself a guy playing 4 games and then breaks his foot off. Eckler's not a 250 carry running back. He is a 90 to 100 reception receiver. So good one to throw out. I agree with you, Kamara and Eckler. Where would you draft Eckler? Good flex? No, Nick. He's a low end running back 1 in some cases. If as soon as Gordon's gone, he's a high end running back 2. My hope is you don't have to draft Eckler anywhere near the top 12. It could get that ugly. Just letting you know, be prepared. Don't think for a second you're getting Eckler in the 3rd round come August. You might get Eckler right now in a best ball draft. Go best ball out right now. Ball out with Eckler. Ball out with Kyler Murray. Ball out with Kenyon Drake. Put your balls on the table in best ball drafts and make some drafts now with those guys because their values are going to go up like a stock that news broke the night before the market opened that they're going to quadruple and everyone's racing to go get. That's what the values are going to be like soon enough. As soon as Melvin Gordon, everyone knows he's going, but guess what? Everybody knew that Antonio Brown was going too when he was leaving Pittsburgh. And I know that Juju's not a good example now, but just looking back at the value alone, Juju went from literally top of the 3rd, maybe bottom of the 2nd to like number 12 overall. He even climbed into like number 7 to 9 and then leveled back down to 12 to 13, 14. But Juju climbed double. He was literally at pick like 22, 24, 26, 27, and he went to 12. He doubled his value practically. Eckler did, or he did double his value, more than doubled his value in some cases by just the news that everybody knew was going to get dropped. That Antonio Brown would be elsewhere. Now, hell, we didn't know what kind of roller coaster we were going on with Antonio Brown. Did you see my video I posted about a couple hours ago on that shit? Smitty, I'm back for more amazing content. Thank you, Juice. Tell your friends. Tell everybody at the water cooler. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell everybody. I have the same problem. A savvy player in my league has a 1.01 and 1.02, can't move on. Well, you know what? You go to a different league and you try and acquire in a different league. Some leagues you just can't. I could get Eckler 39 for 1 year, for Debo 10 for 3 years. That's a tough call given the money, Nick, but I go get Eckler. I play for the now. I don't worry too much about the future. I like Debo a lot, but there are a lot of receivers that could have the same kind of value as Debo. Best fantasy show out there, Smitty. Keep it up. Ryan, I need to ask you a question. I'm going to survey you right now, Ryan. So are you ready? I want you to answer my questions fast, speedy. I'm counting on you, okay? Because I don't want to waste a lot of time on this. Ryan, do you like the mix-up? I like to go in a place like this and do a live and then get out of the studio. I like to do quick lives like that. I like to do little videos like I did on Antonio Brown. Do you like the mixture I have going on? What do you want to see more of? Or would you rather see everything in the studio? Could you help me find another Debo next year? I will, Nick, and you'll find that stuff on sleeperu.com. Christian Kirk would be one name to throw out. So, you know, go McLaurin. People are going to doubt him for whatever reason. Chark probably will be highly ranked, but McLaurin will be easily had compared to the value he could kick out. You like the mix-up? Okay. I kind of like to be honest with you, this setting more than I do anything. But I don't know if you guys do as well. I like being in the studio. I have more information at my fingertips. But I feel like this is more of a setting for what we're doing right now. A Q&A, real type shit. It's a little bit less professional. You know, it's where I work out and I curl things, but I don't know if you guys missed that one where I curled that thing like 15 times. So I was trying to get in a boxing match with a fellow fantasy football analyst, for those of you that know what I'm talking about. Is Montgomery a must avoid with the Bears next year? No, not a must avoid, but pump the brakes and don't invest in him unless you're getting him at, like, he'll probably for sure earn my value back. And that might seem like obvious advice, guys, but to be honest with you, a lot of you, maybe not in this live right now, but a lot of my followers will literally message me and ask me some of the weirdest shit, like, should I take, I'm trying to think, like Aaron Jones number 2 or something. And I'm like, no, you don't take Aaron Jones. Could Aaron Jones be the number 2 overall player? He could, but you don't take him there. Like, maximize your freaking value. So the question was, what was the damn question? I'm so freaking, oh, Montgomery. So if you're taking Montgomery at like number pick 3.03, then you're risking a bunch of shit on that. Like, no, if you don't take him early, let someone else take him. And if he blows up, you already got a player at 3.0 whatever that you like. Don't worry about what Monty's going to do if someone else takes him. If he falls to you at like 5.09 and you're looking at players that you don't really care all that much about, he probably will earn that value. It sounds like such easy advice. Draft a player that will most likely earn your value back in a worst case scenario. As obvious as that sounds, so many people don't do it. They end up taking a very risky player very high. Like Derrick Henry, number 2 or 3 is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not saying he can't earn that. Again, find one person that said what I said in 2018 about Derrick Henry. Literally the week before, he had 4 TDs in that 200-yard monster game where he stiff-armed that guy, and it was the most disrespectful stiff-arm we've ever seen. You won't find anybody higher on Henry than I was. I pumped the brakes on Henry heading into 2019. I will admit, not like to where I said he was a bust, but I wasn't ready to take him as high as some people were drafting him. So I'll admit, I probably could have been higher on Henry heading into 2019. I did like him at the right price, but the right price to me was, right around the end of the second round, where I think he showed a lot less risk. He has a risk of getting hurt. He's a big body guy getting hit at the knees because people are too afraid to tackle him, and people taking him at 2 or 3 are not building in any risk at all into that pick. If you take a guy like Kamara at number 8, you're building in a shitload of risk, you're building and baking that right into the value, because Kamara, if healthy, and you can't predict injury, and he doesn't feel like an injury-prone guy. He's a very hard worker. He trains harder than anybody. If you watch his off-season workout videos, balancing on a freaking ball, juggling glow sticks and shit. He's a hard trainer. He loves the game. He's a student of the game. He's a student of the game. I'm choking on myself. I'm so excited. But he has literally no risk at 8 or 9 or 7.5 overall. Take him at 7.5. He just has a lot of value at that pick. And yet people will take an Aaron Jones at 2 or 3 or something. I get the weird emails all the time. That's not maximizing your value. So Montgomery, no, and yes, depending on where you get him. Devontae Parker and Todd Gurley, Dynasty Outlooks, I have both. Thank you guys for staying on topic for the Dynasty. Smitty, I told you I would get that membership soon. Oh yeah, sorry Nick. I'll email you the information on that. I remember we were talking about that. So my bad. I got you. My biggest hot take. I'm going to get to you guys. There's a lot of questions. I might have to have you ask some of them again. Eric, sorry, yours is way too long. I'm going to pass it. But Eric, restate something short. Should I trade for Eckler? Eric, Nick, I just told you, Nick. I said go get Eckler before the Melvin Gordon. I beat a dead horse on that, Nick. Take a lap. Of course you Eckler. Why wait? Why would you wait, Nick? Why would you wait? Nick, I'm only hard on you like a big brother, okay? Or a papa. You can call me Papa Smitty. Okay, I'm sorry, I will. Attaboy, Nick. You know I'm proud of you, Nick, because you didn't take that a bad way. You didn't go, I'm sorry, Smitty. You took that like a man, and now I'm proud of you for not standing down, and you're like, I'm stepping up, and I'm going to go get Eckler now. Papa Smitty's right. Smitty, Henry or Mike Thomas, you have Adams as your keeper. I go, in PPR, I go Mike Thomas, man. Not by a ton. I still love Derrick Henry. I still draft Derrick Henry in the top 5 to 6 in non-PPR or PPR. I draft him at 4 to 5 in non-PPR. But guys, don't pass up on a PPR machine like Mike Thomas and then give me the excuse, well, what happens if Breeze gets hurt? What happens if Breeze retires? Well, you know what? He'll survive. He's the kind of receiver that will survive. Henry, what happens if Henry gets hurt? What happens if Henry doesn't have the QB support? You know, and I mean, anything could happen. Right now, Henry and Thomas are both on top. Henry and Thomas both have good value in good situations, and they're not going to be hurting walking into 2020 or have any kind of risk. Dynasty outlook for Devontae Parker. Coach, I'm going to tell you right now, man, as much as I worry about Evans and Godwin, given the values that people have for both, I worry the same amount, if not more, for Parker's value. Why? Because Parker is so tied to Ryan Fitzpatrick. If you want to debate me on that, take a little look back on what Devontae Parker's done over his pretty lengthy career. He's no spring chicken, and he doesn't do well without Fitzpatrick. He's very dependent on him, and if something happens to Fitzy boy, Devontae Parker is going to... So, dynasty-wise, I don't know, man. I don't know if I like that. Trade Mark Andrews, bad move. I think it could be. I agree 100%. Papa Smitty, I'm looking to trade him and Gurley this offseason. Coach, put me in. I think Papa Smitty's gonna, I think I might have created something there. I might have created a monster. What would your strategy be in Dynasty if your tight ends were Hawkinson and Irv Smith? Eric, I'd run into a brick wall head first. If those, no, I'm kidding. Hawkinson, I like. Give him time. And Irv Smith's not horrible, but I mean, you're definitely teeter-tottering on the verge of having no good cute or tight end production, or you're banking on Hawkinson, who I do like a lot. He could develop. A lot of turmoil there in Detroit in 2019, so give him a little bit of a break. And tight ends don't exactly thrive the fastest in fantasy football, so give him some time. Believe it or not, David Njoku was one of the fastest tight ends under the age of, I think, 21 it was, to get to the reception totals he had heading into 2019. And he was considered to be a slow starting tight end. So if that tells you anything, tight ends start very slowly historically, because Njoku was one of the quickest starting 21-year-old tight ends. Chew on them apples, bro. If Burrow does go to Cincinnati, man, I choked hardcore earlier. I still can't shake it. If Burrow, don't you hate that when you choke on your own spit? I'm just sitting here. If Burrow, I am talking a lot. If Burrow does go to Cincinnati and plays with A.J. Green, who may or may not, I mean, who knows what's going on with A.J. Green, bro? Tyler Boyd, will that make him a top rookie dynasty QB in the draft? Burrow's already the top rookie dynasty QB in the draft. Jeremy, he looks really good. Resume is very weird and short. It's almost like he handed you a resume. It's got 2 lines on it. It doesn't have much history at all. He doesn't even know how to use Excel.
or type. He doesn't even have a reference, but his own coach that picks his nose and eats it. That's his reference. I mean, he's got Coach O like 5 times listed on his reference. He's got Coach O on reference line 1 with his cell number, Coach O reference line 2 with his home phone, Coach O's fax line, Coach O's pager, Coach O's guest house. Those are the resumes on this kid's that say, I am the best for a short period of time. We don't know what to expect with Burrow. He could be a bust or he could be a guy that no one saw coming. But let me ask you a question. Did anybody looking at the film of Tom Brady running in his 40-yard dash in a million years think this is the GOAT, the greatest quarterback of all time? Look at that motherfucker run. That is the best form I've ever seen in my life. He looks like a 14-year-old schoolgirl running down the pom-pom line. And this is the GOAT? The greatest of all time? Tom Brady? No. I would have told you to if you told me that would be the GOAT, I would have said, I'll retire if this ends up being the GOAT. There's no way I would have saw that coming. Even watching him throw, not that much different at the combine or in college than Jason Stidham that they have backing him up. It looks very similar. That guy could be okay. Jarrett Stidham, I believe his name is. Very decent looking film. And reminds me a lot of Tom Brady now in terms of just a little bit of his touch and how he throws and releases and looks kind of throwing the ball. But I didn't see that shit coming, man. So Burrow having all of the short but best success you could freaking have is a damn good sign and very, very good setup for a QB heading into the pros, and trying to evaluate him is pretty easy in one sense, even though he's a little bit hard to predict, consistency-wise. What the hell do I do with O.J. Howard and Odell Beckham Jr.? Odell Beckham Jr. is on the path of AB, man. Maybe not. I mean, you see Odell on the sideline, like signing balls for, like kids and going out of his way to help people. And I'm not saying Antonio Brown couldn't do that too and try and give that perception off. Odell looked like he was hammered when he slapped that officer on the rear end. Do I think a warrant should be issued for his arrest? No, I don't. I think that's ridiculous. But you know what's more ridiculous? That you slap an officer on the ass while you're drunk. Then when he turns around, instead of going, dude, I'm just kidding. Whoa, you want? Yeah. He taunts the guy. He's lucky the guy didn't arrest him on the spot. You don't taunt an officer after you demean him slapping his butt cheek and then expect to be okay with everybody after the fact. And everybody blaming the officer. Judge. Everybody blamed the officer, saying he was soft or whatever. He didn't do anything then and there. This, and I could be wrong. I don't have all the facts on how the thing unraveled or shaped. But happening after the fact, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. To me, that means something happened above his level where they probably said to him, they chastised him, dude, have the perception that no one could put their hands on an officer. He slapped your ass, then he taunted you, and you did nothing. So we're gonna issue an arrest warrant, make you look silly, and you need to fix this next time. Why are they blaming the officer? That's what my feeling is. I don't know if you guys have heard differently. Cop gonna seek paid leave. I don't think so, dude. I don't think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that cop is trying to get something, but it sounds like that was not a decision that he exactly made on his own. AB is on a whole other level of crazy. ABS, I believe CTE, but I'm guessing. That's my uneducated diagnosis of him. But I think everybody pretty much is going to have CTE in the NFL. It's just a matter of how much. But I think that his change in behavior is an indication. I mean, it's like Henry VIII, man. I don't know if you guys have watched The Tudors, a very good show. If you haven't watched The Tudors, I believe it's on Showtime. The Tudors is a freaking good show. It's about Henry VIII. He beheaded everybody. He was cuckoo in the head, and it got worse and worse. They ended up saying he had like syphilis or whatever. But AB is, his personality's changing. He's becoming a different person. And that's a clear sign of like mental illness or something happening chemically, or there are all kinds of like weird stuff going on within, you know, within his mind that is changed. It's not, I think, just that the dude, something changed and altered, you know, the chemical balance of this guy's brain. Yeah, that hit from, yeah, that hit he took a few years back definitely, I think, triggered a lot of this to come on. I think it would have happened maybe eventually, but it definitely made it worse, and it happened fast. Every year, top 5 picks in the draft, typically only 1 out of the 5 end up producing other 4 garbage. That could happen. I don't know that I bank on that stat, but yeah, that could happen. Look at all the QBs that got passed on, you know, and look at Brady. Look at all the QBs that got passed on. Look at Lamar. Look at Lamar. Look at Lamar. I was not as high in Lamar as I should have been. Bad Smitty. Bad me. There's Mick. Where have the supers been? By the way, just so you guys know, I don't know that I have any more spots available in the league. So just so you guys know, if you do super chat tonight, I may not be able to give you a spot. We are all out. But I have some news that we will potentially see something else similar in just a little bit. I'm going to let this draft play out a little bit and kind of get a feel for how long it's going to take. And then I might have something up my sleeve for all you that missed out on the Battle of the Pimps. Thank you for the super chat. Mitch says, thanks for helping win my league this year. Mitch, you did it. I was merely a backseat driver trying to help guide you on a path that you knew which turn to make based on some of my advice, based on a lot of your talent and a lot of the other peeps in this chat and on this show. But take credit, man. It's all you. I appreciate you. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, and tell everybody at the water cooler. And literally, if you guys don't want to tell your friend, which I get, it's a little selfish, but I understand it a little bit, you can still do your part. You can still, if you're a college kid, you know, you could just, for 5 minutes for Smitty, and record it so I have a little promotion, and I'll put you on the show. You'll be famous, okay? Record this. But just tell people on the street corner or on your college campus in a corner for like 5 minutes. Just sit there and say, hey, thefantasyfootballshow.com. Tell. Let me know if you need me to get out of here. I said, let me know if you need me to get out of here. What time do you guys stop serving food?
9.
Okay.
Thursday, Friday's 9.
Okay. And Sunday?
What's that?
You closed on Sunday?
No, we're open every day.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So what else you guys got for me? I'm spreading the word in Canada. Thank you, Ryan. If you run into a little guy named Joe, let him know about the show, if you know what I mean. Will the draft be updated somewhere? Eric, I'll provide links and all of that stuff. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, my friend. I will buy the Logan Paul AB fight through, that will be entertaining AF, as F. I try to curse as little as I can on the show. Spreading the word. Thank you. I appreciate all of you spreading the word. It helps the show grow. And it's not that I'm worried about numbers. So please, guys, don't think that like I'm all about numbers. Like everything's got to be, you know, about hitting a number, or I'm worried about views. If I was worried about views, I wouldn't create content like this and, you know, just do a live, or I wouldn't do dedicate a lot of my time to the Saturday night and Sunday night show. Because you guys may not know this, but when you are a content creator like I am, and you do a show on Sunday morning about those games, that show is literally held meaningless as soon as kickoff happens. So that content is like for you guys. I know you want it. I produce it. It doesn't get the kind of views that another show does because it's dead the moment the games kick off. Thanks for the super chat. Ball is life. Look at you. Dynasty startup draft strategies, trade back, trade up. I like everything, bro. Nick says I've been spreading the word. Whoops. accidentally hit something there. Nick says, I've been spreading the word. I still will and try to get people to you. Thank you. Just stand on the street corner and do whatever you can. Dynasty strategies. Okay. Honestly, there's no restrictions here for me. I'm not one to say, oh, I go wide receiver. Oh, I go running back. Or, oh, I go wide receiver, running back. Or I don't like that. I think when people go running back, wide receiver only, that's a ridiculous approach to a draft because the flow of draft means so much. In general, in a dynasty startup, a draft strategy I'd have would be to attack and get picks so I could get both Jerry and ETN. Sorry, I feel like I'm already getting another cold. Sucks. ETN and Jerry Judy would be a fun way to build. That would be one approach. If I was going to go all in on one, I'd try and go all in on both and build around those two gems. It's illegal in Minnesota, but I have been spreading the word in mults. It's illegal to do fantasy or do daily because it'd be hard for me to imagine you couldn't play even on NFL.com in your state. Are you telling me that that's the case? I know daily is. Daily's not legal in every state. Definitely not. But I also like the strategy of just best player available, and that goes for any draft. But if I'm in like an auction, that gives me a lot more flexibility to tell you, hey, try this approach here, try X, try Y, try whatever. But when you're talking about a standard snake draft, it really comes down to flow. I can't really tell you anything other than I play in enough leagues where I do want to try the QB early approach. I do want to try the wait on a QB approach. I typically want Mahomes over Lamar because Mahomes costs less, but that was until last week. And if Mahomes goes off again and even if they lose and he has a big game, Mahomes could be right there, if not ahead of Lamar in a lot of people's eyes. But 2 weeks ago, Lamar was a whole 10, 12 picks ahead of Mahomes. It was crazy what 1 week did to everybody's mindset. But I like to take at least one or two stabs at building a team that way. I like the wide receiver approach. I like the running back approach. Ryan says, I jumped from the fantasy footballers to your show. Thank you. I'm going to screenshot that, young man. That's a nice compliment. Main reason is how interactive your site is, Smitty. Feels like talking to one of my buddies. You're great with the fans. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate that, bro. I do respect the ballers, but I'll take anybody, and you can pitch a tent with me anytime, any place, anywhere. And I do stay interactive with my people. That's why I do lives all different times and stuff, so that, like, during, especially right now, we're slow enough, which kind of sucks for me, but it's great for you guys because you can interact, and I pretty much can get to almost every question on a night like this. Do I prefer auction over snake? Absolutely, I prefer auction because you control your destiny, much like having the 1.01 versus the 1.02. If you have just the 1.02, you're dependent on what that person does at the 1.01. If you own the 1.01, the destiny's in your hands. I'll literally trade my second to move from 2 point. I'll trade my second, my third, my fourth, my fifth. I'll trade everything past my first rounder to ensure that I have the 1.01, even if I had the 1.02. You can say that's a little extreme. I don't give a shit, because that's how I roll. And I want the 1.01 bad, but I will try and get that 1.01 with the 1.02 at all costs if I can. That's just a few of the draft strategies I can toss your way. What else do I have for you? I'd say I more so target a few players in Dynasty, more than I'd say strategies. Trading draft picks is one strategy and approach that I'm totally a supporter of, because I think that if you can trade like your fifth and your sixth rounder for, like, let's say a high third or even a low second, I do that shit all day long. I trade my second and my fourth for a 1.04. So my favorite approach, see if I can, I'll do a mock-up for you guys in a second, but if I trade, I'm trying to see if I can draw something for you. If I trade my second and my fourth for a first, I now have my first rounder. Let's say I got the 1.02. I now have the 1.04. I don't have my second. I don't have my fourth. My third and my fifth, I trade for another first if I can. And I've done it before. Using just those two trades, those two maneuvers, I've literally had the 1.01, the 1.02, and I believe it was like the 1.04 in one draft. And yes, I gave up 2 entire picks to do it. You have to do that. If you don't do that, you're not going to entice anybody into making a trade where they give you their first rounder. If you're like, well, I'll give you my 2nd and 4th, you give me your 1st and your 7th. Like, you're screwing it up. Don't do that. Take no pick back. Make them think, holy shit, I got to take this. Otherwise, they're going, let me balance that scale and see where it's at. Then you know what they do? They tell you no. And then you come back and offer what I just said, and they say no again because you got them in the habit of saying no. It's repetitive. It's comfortable. They're going to continue to say no. But I have got the 1.01, the 1.02, and I believe it's the 1.04, I believe, or 1.05. Probably, I want to say 1.04 because I want to say I was 1 pick away from having the trio. And I've done that a couple times. So it was like 1.01, 1.02, and then 1 year is like 1.06, 1 year is 1.07, 1 year is 1.04. I never had all 3 in a row. But 1 year I had like Falk and Tomlinson and Culpepper or something. It was like I killed everyone in that draft. Everyone exploded. And then I landed some sleepers and I blew up that year. Another year I did it and I think my top player got hurt. And then I recently did it like 2 or 3 years ago, and I forget the players I had. It's funny how I remember the players back in the day, but I don't remember the one I did recently, like what players I had. I think it's because I play in more leagues now, probably what it is. I played in 2 or 3 leagues probably, maybe 4 back when I did that other one with Marshall Falk and Tomlinson. Now I've accumulated so many damn drafts. I had 14 last year, and I missed my lineup a couple times in a couple leagues. Fuller got hurt 1 week. And I had already checked my lineup Thursday nights because when you have 14 teams, you don't know who's on what team. You don't know, you own Fuller, but I literally never remembered what players were on what team. I don't even know the name of the leagues. I was like going League 1 that's in order, going League 2, they're all kind of named the same. And I literally like had Fuller. This is how bad I did in some leagues attention-wise because I'm creating content daily. You guys don't know how much work goes into these videos. The lives aren't bad because there's no editing. You do edit the title and the tags and all that stuff. But a lot of work goes, it's 40 to 50 hours of time in video alone for YouTube. And that's not even including packaging and cutting some of that up for Instagram footage, for TikTok. I'm on TikTok, sons of bitches. Go follow that shit. I'm with the kids, bro. I'm on TikTok, man, at thefantasyfootballshow.com. Don't laugh. Swipe up. You don't swipe left and right. You swipe up, bitch. It's TikTok, man. TikTok is believe it or not, if you're thinking TikTok is not for you, and honestly, if you've got too much going on, if you're doing a business, you gotta focus, man. You can't do everything. Like, I didn't do TikTok last year. I barely did Twitter. This year, I'm like, okay, I'm established on IG. I've got my YouTube rocking. Now it's time to hit TikTok and Twitter as well. My point was I create 40 to 50 hours of video for YouTube alone, cutting that up, creating new, special, unique content, because if you just cut everything up, no one's gonna follow you on Twitter or Instagram if it's just regurgitated shit wrapped up a little bit differently in a different bow in the same bag you got from a other present. No one's gonna take that and run with it. So you have to create unique, special environments for each channel. If you go to my Instagram, which I recommend you do, if you're not following on Instagram at the Fantasy Football Show, you are missing out on some of the most unique content. I love both YouTube and Instagram. They're two separate worlds for me. How you see me on the live tonight is more how you're gonna feel on Instagram. In the studio on youtube.com/the Fantasy Football Show, in the studio is how you view me on YouTube. I'm not a different person, I just have a little bit different flexibility. Instagram's more about humor, but I do provide a lot of fantasy content. TikTok is more about humor, but I'm starting to provide a lot of content on there. It's short, it's all quick, it's quick hitting, like Kenyon Drake, get him. Why? He's gonna blow up. That's TikTok. Instagram is more like humor mixed with short clips and all that. Ricky with the super chat. Sorry to be off topic, but do you recommend league loser punishments? My league wants one, but we don't agree if it should be a final standings or regular season standings. Always final. Regular season's premature. Don't do it early. And punishment, I would say, don't kick anybody out because anybody can get hit with injury. I would say that you maybe predetermine what you're going to do, and then at the end you vote on it so that everybody kind of knows what might be in store. So you don't just like drop a, hey, you got to get a tattoo of, something on your ass or whatever. Like, you know what you're getting into. Everybody can kind of agree on it. But I will say something like paying the winner's entry fee, or something like, I don't know, losing, I don't know. I'd say something like that would be cool, paying the entry fee. I don't know if I'd dock anybody from rebuilding, because if you have a team that, I hate those things where, like, if you lost, you don't get a first rounder. Like, why the fuck would you hurt somebody and their chances of rebuilding their team even further when they lost the whole league? That person's going to quit. That's like picking on somebody and kicking them while they're down. Come up with something that's just outside of the league. Getting in a 2-2 and running into the ocean. I had, or actually it was a G-string Borat thong that Winner's Circle, who came on the show, that's a league of people. Matthew Berry did a special on them, then I interviewed them, and they're going to do their league punishment live on the Fantasy Football Show. And last year, he ran into the ocean with a Borat pink thong on, and that was awesome. He got to put it on social media. Everybody laughed. I recommend something like that that's fun for the league, gives you camaraderie, gives everybody something to joke around about. Make somebody do, burpees across a football field in a dress or something, and they got to like jump down every yard all the way down the field or something. Trying to think of some others. You could do one thing I saw was really funny. You could do what do you call it? The sandbag thing with the hole in it at the end, where what do you call it? What do you call that? I don't know why I'm blanking out. Where there's two things and there are two boards and there's a hole at the end and you throw the sandbag. What's that called? Not shuffleboard. Why can't I think of it? Someone tell me. Beanbag toss or whatever. I don't know. Is there like a name for it though? Beanbag toss. But basically, you have the loser sit with the thing on their crotch, cornhole. That's it. And literally, you could throw like heavier beanbags through that, and he's literally got like, you could tie his hands to the grass with like rope and stuff, and he's literally got to sit there, and all you guys could toss the beanbags out of trying to get it through the hole. That was a fun one. And it makes for a good suspense as everybody tosses these beanbags trying to hit him right in the nads. Cornhole this! I love that one. The studio is more focused on football. Who is your rookie running back? What's that mean, Jake? Are you saying you don't like this? Who is your rookie running back if ETN stays in school? God, have you guys felt like he's teeter-tottering? He better not stay in school. J.K. Dobbins and Swift are probably the 1 and 2, or the 2, either order. Past that, Zach Moss is getting very underrated. Taylor's probably the most underrated of the top 4. Taylor could be the number 1 even now. If Taylor landed in the best spot, if Taylor landed like in Kansas City, Taylor would be the number 1 overall pick in rookie draft. So Taylor is probably the guy. Smitty, you should get on Cameo. I'd probably do that. I don't have a lot of time, but I'd try it out, I could create my own Cameo and just say, purchase this, and I'll say a video clip. Nick, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll just do it. I'll just work around and tell people they can hit me up. And I'll say a message like, this is what Nick's would be. Ready? Hi, Nick. I will always answer your question no matter what, whenever you ask it, even if I miss it. That's Nick's Cameo. I'm getting cold. My shit's leaving. 2021 picks
Now worth a lot more, especially if ETN stays too. If ETN stays, but at the same time, we've seen that before where a running back appears to be set up to be like invincible, and then one more year goes by, and then we watch their value decline a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know that I like him putting on more miles on his tires, bro. It's cold as shit. Thank you for that super, Hernandez. Hernandez says Hernandez. I'm getting in the car. You probably won't be able to see me as much, but I've got a little light. Oh, God, it's cold. Don't make fun of me. I'm in Arizona. It shouldn't be freaking 40 degrees. And I'm hungry. I need food. Taco Bell, where am I going? Nothing's open. Am I crazy or no? I think Harris is a Derrick Henry who can catch. I mean, I like Harris. If ETN drops out of the NFL, race to the NFL, man, he goes back to college. I mean, Harris could climb quick. Friday is the last day for underclassmen to declare. Not sure if this was already discussed. ETN question. Yeah, ETN's in question. We're hoping he declares. If he doesn't, it adds some clarity to the running backs, but Taylor probably is the guy that I think starts getting talked about a ton. Watch Taylor go from 1.04, 1.05 material right now in overall rookie rankings and really like the third or fourth running back, typically the fourth running back. Watch Taylor potentially be that guy once Buzz gets kicking into gear, because he's the most NFL built running back, like the between the tackles, like body and size. Once he gets a little more buzz, he could jump to everybody's number one running back, NFL team wise. And he would be the 1.01 if he landed in like Kansas City or Tampa. Oh yeah, Harris is staying. That sucks. What players announced that they're not going pro? It was Harris. I'm blanking out on the receiver. Jake, I like the remotes, but I think I like the studio shows better. Have been with you since just after 2019 NFL draft. Well, don't worry, Jake. Most of my stuff is in the studio. I just like to get out and kind of have a different feel. I kind of feel like when you get to my show and it's like always the studio shot, it just kind of, could get not old or mundane, but I think that these different like things you can look forward to, you know what I mean? Like it makes the show, it's kind of like having the same meal over and over. Like you love it, even if you love steak, you still want to have steak like 4 times a week instead of 7. So that way you love it all 4 times. So I just want you to love the show. That's all I want. That's all Papa Smitty wants, is for you to love the show the same every time you watch it. That's all I ask for. And for you to spread the word, which a lot of you don't do. Oh, like I said, I'm not worried about numbers. I got procrastinated. Never finished my sentence, which I do a lot. I was saying earlier that why I want the show to grow is more about what I'll be able to do once we grow. I'll have more flexibility. I'll have more funding. I'll have more ability to go longer. I'll have the ability to focus on less. Maybe hire some people to do some of the tedious stuff that I do everything. I'm a one-man band. And I don't know that I would hire anybody like big time, so don't get excited and say I can, work for Smitty and only do that. I'm a one-man band guy for the most part, but I could free up a ton of time with tedious emails that I deal with all day long, shit like that take up like literally my email. And I'm not talking about, I know everybody's got a lot of emails. I'm talking about things that require a lot of work, a lot of networking, a lot of interviews. I get people that want me to come on their podcast, smaller channels that are just starting out, and I like to help them out, but I also, spread the word about my show to new people and new audiences. That networking and email part of my day is like 5 hours, 4 hours a day of that shit. If we grow the show, it will get you mo.
Don't you know? For me, ETN is the 4th. Jake, I could see that, but I like ETN, man. In Kansas City, he'd be a monster. If Judy gets drafted at 2 in my rookie draft, should I go with ETN? Preston, I have no clue until we have those landing spots. I can only tell you how I ranked them talent-wise. And talent-wise, I have ETN, probably Judy, then Dobbins, then Swift, then Taylor, then Lamb, and then Golden Gandy, bro. The Gandy Golden. The Golden Gandy and the Gandy Golden. I like Gandy that much. I think Gandy's going to be top 6 for me. But landing spot could change a lot of things, but I don't know that I could tell you anything, like for sure, because we have no landing spots. I can only tell you talent. Just like AJ Brown was literally my top, like slightly below N'Keal Harry, but talent-wise, I had him high. Situation after the draft, I dropped him. Hollywood Brown was elite, but drafted into a questionable at the time situation because people were like, I think Lamar is going to be good, but no one thought he would be this good, or some people did. I didn't. I admit it. I'm a man of my mistakes. I admit my mistakes. I man up on my mistakes. Is Lamb Devontae Adams 2.0? He could be, dude. I love him. Jake says variety's good. Thank you. Should Eckler be picked 2nd round? Easily, Corey. Probably will go at like 1.11 and 1.12 the moment Gordon's gone. Just watch. Just seen you were live. What's poppin', Silver? I have an insider for Gandy Golden. One of my friends played at Liberty, so he knows him pretty well. Well, I love the dude. I think Gandy is golden. Everything about Gandy is golden, Nick. And I think he's going to surprise some mofos in 2020. This could be a draft. Man, last year's wide receivers were insane. Hollywood Brown. We just have such a good AJ Brown. We have such a good receiving crew. God, my nose. I've got like this. I hope I'm not getting sick. Probably didn't help that I was sitting in 40-degree weather with like a short shirt and not short shorts. Smitty doing it live in short shorts, baby. With shorts on. And I'm like, my nose is cold. It's running. I just got over that flu like in December. I better not get another freaking cold again. And I talk a lot, so I get hoarse, man. Lamb will be the best rookie wide receiver next season, says Joshua. Dude, I love CeeDee Lamb. I can try and talk and see if I can make that happen. Nick, get him on the show, bro. What if I got him on the show? Nick, you've promised things like that before. If you get him on the show, I'll give you a 5-year comp at sleeperu.com. So set it up. And I'm talking an interview, bro. Not a letter. ETN strongly considering remaining in Clemson. Yeah, they say that. I'm hoping that's just talk. Should I target Derrick Henry even though he is an unrestricted free agent? We talked a lot about that at the beginning of the show, so definitely give it a listen. But he's risky. I think Tennessee's going to resign him. Tennessee would be crazy not to. Henry would be crazy not to resign. But these players don't always make the best decisions. But rewatch the beginning of the show. I hit that hard that I think Henry and Tennessee would be dumb on both sides of that to sever the relationship. Ricky Hernandez, overall top tier wide receivers except MT underperformed. But a lot of mid-tier guys. Yeah, that makes like running back a little more appealing in 2020. But damn, anything can happen. Things can flip back. Everything's a cycle. Don't think everything's just going to repeat itself. But with Chark, AJ Brown, all these guys falling. AJ Brown, the next top 5 wide receiver. Sons of bees. AJ Brown, get on board. Limited spots on the train that I'm conducting. AJ Brown, don't take him top 5. You would be dumb to take him top 5. You don't need to take him top 5. But AJ Brown is heading for the top 5, SOBs. Get on board. I think the Chiefs will face off eventually. I think it'll be Kansas City versus the 49ers. I don't know who's going to win that game
49ers feel like a little bit of an edge. I won't lie, I'll be rooting for the Chiefs because I'm a big Mahomes fan. But I love the story of the 49ers, and if they win, I'll be damn happy for them too. So I'm not like against anybody. I just kind of like a little bit of a soft spot for those Kansas City Chief players. You know what I mean? What's your prediction for the Niners game? Again, Niners, I think will win. Titans versus Niners. Titans win Super Bowl, says Nick. Sorry, you just answered. No problem. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I appreciate all the super chats. You guys make the show. I'll be doing a show on, I believe, Saturday night. And I appreciate everything you guys do. And I couldn't do this without you guys. And make sure you follow me on Instagram, too. Because if you're waiting, like a lot of people are like, Smitty, I've been waiting for a live show. Get on Instagram, too. I go live on Instagram all the time. And I do videos on Instagram that are like just for Instagram. I do YouTube stuff that's just for YouTube. I do cross them over sometimes and do share the content occasionally, but I do original stuff on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, you're missing half of my brand, or a third of my brand. I do like a third of it's on Sleeper U, or more. Well, no, like 50% of everything is you'll find on Sleeper U. Like the video, as Hernandez said, but don't miss out on Instagram. All right, guys, later. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Did I make the 96 silver? I don't know. I mean, if I announced you won it or something, I'm not sure. I forget. Honestly, I forget things the next day. So I don't know if you won it in something. I'm not giving, the spots are all full. I don't know if you got one though. You might have. I don't know. Did you win a contest? But yes, stay tuned. I will have potentially another one. Get ready. That one's going to be kind of exciting. And you know me, I like to get creative, innovative, and hold on to your seats and your butts and buckle up. 2020 is going to be dynasty crazy. 2020 is going to be insane, and I can't wait. Spread the word. Help me get bigger, not because I'm worried about the numbers, because I want more power to provide you and give you more, I want to give you more length. We need more girth on the show. We need more length. I want to take these shows the distance. And I think we can do that with more people. So it helps free me up. If we can get to 10K, get the girth. That's the 2020 motto. The show needs girth. Let's get bigger. We need to get a shirt made, like right away. Get that girth in 2020. The show needs girth. I want a 3-hour show this shit, guys. That's what I want. Got the girth, get the girth. Get the girth 2020. Later.